guna, the ignorant point of, oh, this person did that and this, the mind likes it. That's why Vyasadeva wrote Mahabharata. He writes fiction and horror, not fiction, sorry, love story and horror and tragedy and war, and there's all kinds of scandals and all kinds of shadyantra, as they call it, because the ego enjoys it. Ego enjoys fault finding, especially with others. We don't like fault finding ourselves, but we like to fault find others. So if I can point at Brahma's weakness or to Guru's mistakes or devotees' mistakes, then I don't have to face my own mistake. So that's why we get stuck. We don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror. So my research, studying Srimad Bhagavatam stories, looking at Anartha Nivriti, looking at psychological aspect of human mind, the reason why we get stuck in spiritual life, why we don't move forward and relishing and enjoying and experiencing that bliss that all the Shastras promise us, is because we avoid that painful self-reflection, and maybe we are also envious. Envy blinds us. We can't see Krishna's mercy, and we just get caught up. Then we get attached to the perfect image. I'm not perfect, but I want my guru to be perfect. I want my senior devotee to be perfect. I want my temple president to be perfect, and then so on and so forth. So the mind, it's like, oh, you see, he fell, she failed. I'm a little bit better. So because we get attached to the image of perfection, because we want a world without flaws, because we are spirit souls whose nature is to be in the spiritual world, which is perfect. So now when we see only mistakes in this world, it's like a mirror to say that this is not where you belong. So that's where we get stuck. We look at the mirror, and instead of thinking, oh, this is not a perfect world, I am also full of faults, it becomes easy to look at, point the fingers at other people. So the mind can play tricks on us, and it prevents us from going deeper. So Krishna's vision, however, is different, because he looks at our intention, forgives the action. Or at times he looks at our action, maybe our intention is wrong, and he accepts the action. So he sees beyond the smoke. He finds the divine spark. He sees, oh, how sweet Krishna is. I have this beautiful Krishna here. Oh, so cute. So sweet. So how does Krishna see us? Krishna does not weigh us by perfection of our external action. He looks into our heart, and then he values the Bhavagrahi Janardana. He values that spark of devotion. Even if it's mixed with devotion, even if it's mixed with weakness, even if it's hidden in smoke of not 100% pure intentions, he treasures that spark. So remember that Bhagavatam says that any person who worships Krishna, anybody, will, even if they commit mistakes, the Lord is always situated in their heart, and he can forgive. So a saint is not someone who never falls. Just remember, even Brahma had his fall, but somebody who rises again, puts our faith again in Krishna's hands. So that's the higher vision too. Tatte susamikshamano. A devotee is seeing even the suffering as Krishna's mercy. Oh, these challenges are happening because my test is going on of my faith. So that's a lesson, that Krishna's mercy transcends material justice. He sees our heart. He doesn't just see our history. And I was also thinking, like, when I've been going around, whenever I'm going in Europe, I was checking the ingredients on the pack of, oh, is not strict externals. Sometimes the focus is like, is it prasadam friendly? If you ask ChatGPT, if you scan a picture of ingredients list, and then you ask ChatGPT, is this KC? It will tell you, because is it Krishna conscious? So it will tell you, yeah, is there onion garlic? Does it have animal product? Whatever. It tells you like the whole thing. So sometimes I was thinking how we could be very strict, very, very careful. Prasadam, no onion garlic, any hidden ingredients, it should be all perfect, all that. But then I may forget to check my heart for if I am envious, if I'm prideful, if I have this fault-finding tendency, if I have critical attitudes. Does my mind have envy today? Does my mind have pride today? So I was just thinking, as careful as I am in looking at the ingredients in the supermarket, if only every day I could be careful to check my ingredients of whatever action I'm trying to perform, would not that save me and protect me every day? Because Brahmaji, he had four mouths. Imagine, right? Imagine four mouths. And four mouths, you can chant Hare Krishna, you can eat so much prasadam. Not that you should use their four mouths for gossiping. So the point is, we all have something, may not be four mouths literally, but we all have some talent, something specific that we observe, we see. So am I using it to create more trouble? Or am I using it to uplift myself and others? So I was remembering there was this proverb, right? However, like, how's that? Like, no matter how long the night is, the daylight will always come, the dawn will break. So this is the lesson we can learn actually from, that's actually, I think it's an African proverb also. So Brahma's fall down, it's like the dark night of mistakes. People may sometimes go through tough periods. We may go through tough periods, but it doesn't last forever. And Krishna sees us through lifetimes, not just one lifetime. So that's when Krishna's forgiveness is like that sunrise. So Brahma's honor was restored. So even in our lives, we may go through those mistakes, weaknesses, but if we can just be humble and if we can just pray to the Lord that instead of comparing, recently I was going through a particular situation, somebody I knew some years ago, they were not so rich, and now they became a millionaire, they made a lot of money. And then there was a part of me that was like, oh, felt a little bit jealous. Oh, this person, they became rich. But then I was thinking, on the other hand, like how to see this situation in a Krishna conscious way. One formula I often use is I pray for that person. Instead of jealousy, I want to replace it with compassion, blessings, mercy, happiness. And I was like, may this person be prosperous. May this person be happy. May this person grow even more. And it really releases that envy somehow whenever you pray in that way. It's hard initially because if there's any jealousy, oh, I want it, I don't know, but just give it to them. That's the mentality of a devotee, and it really works. And then another angle of looking at it is maybe my purpose in life is not to earn a lot of money, etc. I have my own I may not have four mouths, four heads, but I have my own service. I have my own classes that I give, devotees that I speak to, counseling that I do, some service that I do, some books that I write, some courses that I do, and that is my service. So it's very important to have that sense of self-confidence that no matter what other people are, where other people are, maybe some people's leg is more deep into mud, or maybe my leg is too deep into mud. They have already kicked off and they're running, but I'm still cleaning up my messy, muddy shoes. So we have to be very honest to look at the Hridaya Granthi, what is my knot in the heart? And then what is my purpose that Krishna has for me? And then find that happiness, find that, like Brahmaji here, we are seeing in this verse, at one point, he's able to resume his services, not guilt, shame, not like that, moving on in service of the Lord, mission of the Lord. Similarly, there's two sides to it. One is I may put myself into criticism and shame and guilt. Another is another person may put us in that situation, or we may look at other person with judgment. So the night of weakness doesn't mean permanent. It's just a phase of life. So by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Chidhyante Sarva Samshayaha, we will be able to, the hard knot of material existence will be broken, and then we will be able to cut the doubts, destroy those doubts. And of course, Krishna, as in the 18th chapter, he says, Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishami ma suchaha. So if I am, okay, I'm going to say if I am sincere and honest that I want Krishna's will to be done, it's not about me, my plans, my critical nature, my critical thinking about myself, about others, but I really want to do my duty towards Krishna. Then simply I surrender my weakness, my strength, everything to the Lord. and I'm not trying to control the results of the actions, then Krishna assures, then I will deliver you from all sinful conditions of life. There's nothing to worry about it. So the experience of Krishna consciousness is susukham kartum avyayam. It's supposed to be joyful. It's joyfully performed. Yeah. So Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Ravindari दुर्लभमानव जन्म सत्संगे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे चपला सुखलभा लागिरे. So this human form of life is very rare. So we should always let the Lord in. If I'm feeling sad, I invite the Lord. If I'm feeling happy, I invite the Lord. So taking shelter of Krishna, if I'm feeling critical about somebody, I invite the Lord. Krishna, I'm feeling critical about this person. Please help me. Please bless this person. Krishna, I'm feeling envious about this person. Krishna, please bless this person. So this is the way to train the mind. Mind is like a monkey, it's like a little child. We need to train it. So after hearing of Brahma, and like I was speaking about Vidura's wife, Vidurani, or Shabari, who gave the eaten fruit to Rama, or Yudhishthir Maharaj, or Putana, whose intention, by the way, you know who was Putana? Putana, in the previous life, was the sister of Bali Maharaj. Because when she saw Bali Maharaj for the first time, she was like completely melting in maternal love. She said, "It's so cute. I want to carry him and I want to cuddle him." That's what she felt. Her name was Ratnamala. And then immediately when all this story happened and Vamanadev tricked Bali Maharaj and then took away all the lands, and then she became immediately very, very resentful and angry. So the mixture of the maternal affection with the angry, resentful mood created the Putana life story, where she had the intention to poison Krishna because of the resentment she had, but she also had the maternal affection. So that's why she was given a position of a nurse in the spiritual world. So let us remember that it is about the mood, it's about the intention, it's about the alignment. What is Krishna's vision for me? What is my life purpose? So in that mood, we surrender. We surrender our envy, we surrender our anger, we surrender our Shudra-like mentality of being attached to external aspects of devotees. Just worship Krishna, whose lotus feet can really give us a fearless shelter. And let me see. Yeah, I mean, I think I could either become like a historian who's always like, oh, records of this person fell down, that person fell, this happened, that happened, all these stories we can create, we can collect, newspapers of Kali Yuga. Or we can become Krishna's emissaries, missionaries, that we try to see beyond the faults and rise above the Shudra mentality and try to see the higher purpose. Move from Sakama. Sakama Bhakti is all about like Venus, okay? The Venus energy is Sakama. And Jupiter is Nishkama. So if Brahma with 4 hands could fall and rise again, surely with our one little head, we can also rise when we bow it at the lotus feet of Krishna. So it's okay to enter Krishna consciousness with Sakama, some expectations, but we need to graduate and develop Nishkama. Means, okay, it's okay to say, oh, these problems are there, that problem, but we need to rise above that and experience the true treasures of Krishna consciousness. So that's the secret, to not to live with doubt and criticism, but with that gratitude, with that openness, with that determination of whatever happens, I will rise again with Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Yeah, so this is what I felt inspired to speak on Ramaji today. And if anybody has any comments or questions, now is a good time. Thank you for staying back and not running away.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother Shri Radha Govinda Devi, as always. I would have loved to see the PowerPoints just to also see how you're thinking and speaking alongside, but it's okay. The most important thing is getting the knowledge. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, you may want to ask, share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question. Oh, Ken Kusha, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother. I'm going better since Kushadas here.
Yeah.
Please, you speak about no matter what attracts us to Krishna consciousness, it does not matter. So my question is, if Maya attracts me to Krishna consciousness, is that Maya rendering devotional service?
Sorry, say that last sentence again.
If Maya
Yes,
attracts
yes,
me to Krishna consciousness,
yes.
is that Maya rendering devotional service?
Oh, is that Maya? Maya is always rendering devotional service. She's putting us in Maya. That is her devotional service. Is a thankless task. She is the see. ಎಡಕ್ಕೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಬಲಕ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೀಯು ಎದುರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ದುರ್ಗಾದೇವಿ ತೊಡೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಲಕುಮಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡದೆ ಮುತ್ತಾಡಿ ಬಂತೆ ಮರುಳು ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಂಡೆಯಲ್ಲೆ ಮಾಯಾದೇವಿಯೇ ಇರುಳು ಹಗಲು ಏಕವಾಗಿ ಹರಿಯು ನಿನ್ನ ಬಿಡದೆ ಬಂತೆ ಮರುಳು ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಂಡೆಯಲ್ಲೆ ಮಾಯಾದೇವಿಯೇ. This is a Vaishnava bhajan which is speaking about the position of Maya Devi. That she's constantly with Krishna because she's constantly drawing border between are you qualified to come to Krishna or not. So she's constantly engaged in service. And if you are somehow attracted by, like, let's get, I don't know, I'm just giving a random example. Somebody says, I think that happens more with Christianity, but let's say, I never heard this happening in Hare Krishna, but hey, if you go to Hare Krishna temple, they will give you money, they will give you some special, things. So it's kind of like Maya attracting, and I may go to the temple because they're giving money. So is it the service of Maya Devi? So she's always engaged in service, but in this way, she's maybe involved in a testing service. So it's not like she's never not engaged in service. She's always giving an opportunity to purify our intent. But I like this. I know one friend. He used to really like a girl, and she was a Hare Krishna devotee. And he was not interested in Krishna consciousness whatsoever. But he would just come to the kirtans and sit because he wanted to see her. That is like a good example of Maya Devi tricking the person in one sense. So my answer is this. The answer is yes and no. Yes, because it may be you who passed the test to want to somehow or another come closer to Krishna. No, because it depends on whether you stay there and come closer to Krishna, or you're going to maybe trick devotees or cheat devotees or whatever. Like I saw in one of the videos that somebody was saying, I really like to go to the temple when I'm feeling very stressed in my life. And so the person says, oh, is it so? Why? Is it that you find a lot of peace by praying to the Lord? And the person says, no, no, no. When I feel very disturbed in my mind, I go to the temple and then I mix and match all the shoes and I misplace all the shoes of people everywhere. And when they come out to try to find their shoes, they cannot find their shoes and they're all very confused. And looking at that, I feel very peaceful. So, so this was like a trend reel that was going on in Hindi. That I think it was I don't know, film dialogue or something. That person feeling so disturbed by putting other people in distress, the person felt peace. Ha! See, everybody is now loitering. And there was a similar. Actually, this is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur or Prabhupada. I'm not sure, but one of the two, I think. These yatris, like they would go in pilgrimage. So there was a thief who became a devotee. So he didn't know what to do because he became a devotee, his nature has changed, he shouldn't steal, but he couldn't sleep all night. So he woke up and everybody's peacefully sleeping, all the pilgrims, right? and he was feeling so agitated, no, restless in his nature of wanting to steal and couldn't sleep. So what he did, he took all the belongings of different devotees, and then he mixed and matched, and he put one on the left, right, and everything. And when people woke up, they were all like, "Where is my stuff? Where is my stuff?" Because this person had to use this tendency that he had, the Maya tendency, that stealing tendency he had. He didn't want to steal because he wanted to stay controlled. No, so I think the question of yours is very perfect to this devotee who just got converted. What to do, remain in Maya, or you're going to change the attitude? How you're going to change the attitude? This was quoted in one of the Puranas or Shastra. It's a real story. There's a real thief who became a devotee, and he just exchanged all the belongings of the pilgrims, and all the pilgrims were going crazy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the answer to Krishna Prabhu's question. Anyone else with something else to ask or to share? Shri Hari Chakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandava Pranam, all glories to Buddha, all glories to Prabhupada, and all glories to the assembled devotees. My question is about the issue of not trying to see a fault. So if you don't see a fault, how can you learn from it? Because if somebody is doing something bad and you don't see the fault, you close your eyes to it, how can you learn from it? By the time you realize, you also be doing the same thing, thinking it's okay. So maybe I think you might throw a little bit more light on it, because if that is what I'm thinking, that if someone is doing something wrong and you don't see it as wrong, then how can you even learn from it? So my question is it your attitude towards whatever happened that matters, or you closing your eyes to the fault that matters?
Thank you.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
it's a good question. Thank you. I think Sahadev Prabhu often says, right? Forgive, but don't forget. I like that one, right? It's like forgive, but don't forget. So Bhagavatam actually says that we should discriminate. Gunadama tanukroshan gunadikan mudam lipset. That we shouldn't, closing our eyes and being in ignorance. Like sometimes I see that some people are like that. I was speaking with a friend of mine, and this person had no idea what's happening in Gaza, no idea what's happening between Ukraine and Russia, no idea what's happening. And I was just like, seriously? You call yourself a preacher? So not only to the mistakes or problems that happening within organization, but as devotees, we also need to be aware of what's happening in the world. But there is a limit. There is a internal attitude that we develop. We should definitely, otherwise we're psychopaths if you don't see what's happening in the world and how these so-called leaders are messing everything up, killing people and killing children and all atrocities, right? It's not that we should turn blind to it, and we should have certain opinions, we should do it, but how we respond to it can be done in either sattva guna, rajas guna, or tamas guna. So in tamas guna, we may just gossip, lament, be obsessed about these news again and again. And in rajas guna, we may become extremely critical and all that. So Bhagavatam says anukroshan. So when we see that things are so pathetic, you look at these world leaders making stupid choices, stupid decisions, bombing countries just to show off that they are in power and powerful and all that. In one sense, it's dangerous what they're doing, right? We feel angry. At the same time, Bhagavatam says, as a devotee, we're supposed to develop compassion. I pray, Krishna, please help. And if we can do something about it, if you're in the position of leadership, if it is your service to fix that situation, of course, you should do something about it in your power. So there's a difference between circle of concern and circle of influence, right? Circle of concern, we are all concerned what's happening in the world, but is that circle of your influence? Is there something you can truly do about it? And then on the other level, we can also, and then guna damat anukrushan gunadikan mudam lipsit. But the honesty to look and see, am I jealous? Am I angry? What is my actual emotion? Like, I'll give an example. Like I said, somebody became very rich suddenly. What is my emotion? I could either say, oh, they're trying to make money through this way and that way and trying to go dig deep and research. And what's my intention? What's my motivation? I have to be honest. I feel jealous that this person became rich. That's the primary thing. Secondarily, how they did it, whether the person is happy with that money or they're in more trouble, that's secondary. So we shouldn't justify, what people are doing, why they're doing it. We were discussing about some particular leader, why they're doing it this way and that way. If I'm truly being objective and looking at the situation just to help the community, I am having to put the cards on the table. It's one thing. If especially it's your service. But to hide my jealousy and my anger and my competitive nature and be devious about it, that can be dangerous for spiritual life. So there is, of course, we have to discriminate. We are not talking about turning a blind eye to what's happening to our neighbor country, neighbor community, neighbor whatever. But we are actually talking about internal attitude. Internally, we either feel compassion or we feel happy, but we should keep, my principle is like, keep my side of the road clean. Keep my side of the road clean. Their side of the road may be dirty, but I want to keep my side of the road clean. And in Kannada, in my mother tongue, there's a proverb. We're sitting for prasadam, or food, and I'm looking at my neighbor's plate, and there is a dead ant in your plate. You have a dead ant in your plate. But I forget to notice that there's a dead donkey in mine. So it's obviously a proverb to expand the thing. Could be a dead rat also. No, but it says dead donkey, which means to say that I may be criticizing. You see, that person is so deep into that whatever hole, mud hole. His legs are so dirty, his shoes so dirty. See, his whole feet is inside. But I may fail to admit and notice that in another area or in the same area of life, I may be knee down. My knees may be inside the mud. So I always try to work on, like, I work and I try to help people around me. Let's keep our side of the road clean. Let's do our homework nicely. And then we can call out, other people. So yeah, there are obviously levels to it. Individual honesty, our duty and responsibility as human beings, as fellow neighbors, whatever. And if it is our leadership position to correct and reform and change the system, because otherwise that is also a negligence of duty. If it is your duty and you're not correcting, and if you're not improving the situation, that is also not good. But I always speak about the adhomukha, trayangamukha, and urdhvamukha. Adhomukha means looking within to see what's happening. Trayangamukha means looking forward. Bhagavatam, no, it's all about looking forward. What to do next right now? What's the next step? Urdhvamukha means the bigger picture. How to arrange the society, how to change the systems, like that. But adhomukha can either be, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong, critical, or it can be, what can I learn from the situation? Like you said nicely, if I look at other people having troubles, I could learn from it. Could happen to me. So that is important. That's healthy adhomukha. What happened? What went wrong? Oh, that person, you see, they went away from devotees. They started criticizing people, and now they have this trouble. Oh, this is serious. I have to be careful about it. I think it's how you frame it, how we frame it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the response, and thank you for the questions. Anyone else? Madhavan Prabhu, yes, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. And we so much appreciate all your efforts on this platform. But I just want to, my realization or my observation is the way Mariti and his younger brother approached Lord Brahma when he fell down. It was explained that they approach him with great respect. So that reminds me of the African culture. In those days, no matter what your father did, you dare not look at him in his eyes. Don't look at fathers in his eyes. So whatever they could have done, you have to be very respectful since it's your father. So it reminds me of that African culture, which is very deep.
True.
So then secondly, we shouldn't be fault finders. Some people, they are fault finders. They're always looking for your fault. You know, the good things they don't see, but the mistakes, you know, they are very critical about it. Then you also mentioned that one guru left, then some other members left also.
Yeah.
Some people come to Krishna consciousness about because of somebody. Sometimes if you change the temple president, you see some people they are not coming again. You know, so they're about a person and not Krishna in particular. So that's just my observation about your lecture. And if you have any other, if you want to expatiate on those points. Hare Krishna, Mother.
Thank you so much, Madhavan Prabhu. Very good point. I did want to say that when a new person comes and let's say they stop coming, I think that means we should look at see what we are doing wrong. Then we may have to correct ourselves. It may not be the new person's fault. Yeah.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, devotees. Madhavan Prabhu, thank you so much. And Her Grace, thank you so much. I have this question, Mother, that this external energy of the Lord, it is said that as much as we, the living entities, want to go back to Godhead, the Supreme Lord himself is several times wanting us to go back to the spiritual world, much more than we, the living entities, want to. So I find this a little bit difficult to understand in the sense that the Supreme Lord wants us to come to him so badly. Yet, he's also created the situation here so difficult for us to go back home. I asked this question some time ago, and the answer was, if someone is addicted to living the life here, then it's difficult. If someone is not addicted to lifestyle in the material world, then it's not difficult. But the problem is, like the scripture says, especially Kali, everyone is born Shudra. That is how we are born. So we are all designed to enjoy this material world, oftentimes outside of Krishna. And so that is how we are designed, and we're trying to do that. Yet, the Supreme Lord who says that he really, really wants us back home so badly, doesn't make it any easier for the struggling ones to go back home. Why Krishna does that? If you may ask Krishna on my behalf, please, why does Krishna make it so difficult for us, the conditioned souls, to give up these lower tastes and partake in the higher taste? It's mind-boggling. Please, if you may help.
Okay. Two things. First of all, it's not true that unless and until you develop higher taste, only then you can get attention of Krishna. That's not necessarily true. That's not our philosophy. In other words, purification is necessary. Purification will help us to come closer to Krishna. At the same time, not necessarily we have to become 100% pure before we pray to Krishna or reach Krishna. That's not the qualification. In fact, the very qualification that Bhagavad Gita was spoken was when Arjuna broke down in complete, utter powerlessness. Not when he was super strong, super purified, clear in intent, chanting 16 rounds, waking up early and doing things. And no, Arjuna was quivering, his legs were shaking, his hands were trembling. So the qualification of spirituality is vulnerability. It's not necessarily that, oh, the purest I am, the more devotee. No, in fact, the more pure I get, the more pride will come. The more humble I am. Like, for example, there's this beautiful lecture of Radhanath Swami about 12 steps. He was addressing like a group of alcoholics in Mumbai. Okay, this is a lecture several years ago. He gave this lecture and he said to these people, look, you guys are not like other people, normal people. You either will die. You're going to die the way you're going because you're addicted to this addiction, whatever, alcohol, or there is God. There is nothing in between for you. Nothing. Whereas, for other people, you go do this, do that. But for these people, either they will just drink and die and become homeless and lose all relationships, end up in prison and die a miserable death. Or they take full shelter of Krishna. They admit that their life is miserable, their life is dysfunctional, they cannot do this on their own. That's spirituality. That was the position of Draupadi. She could not protect her honor on her own. That was the situation of Pingala. She was tired of looking for substitutes. So, my dear Sahadev Prabhu, I just want to contend the premises of your concern that if your goal is that you want to become pure, yes, it's extremely difficult, almost impossible given our samskaras. So it's like, yes, so wow, I'm going to die. But if you can insert into your premises of your question the fact that, yes, I'm miserable, I've had a heart attack, I can't walk, I'm like dying in the street. But if you can remember that there is an ambulance, the ambulance is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. If I'm willing to get on that ambulance, all I need to do is just say, I am so sick, I can't even go to the hospital on my own. Because the path you're describing is the path of getting purified enough, I have to become so pure and give up all my lower desires and only Krishna consciousness. I don't have any more struggles. I don't have any more addictions. I'm not anymore hitting my head again and again and breaking myself or whatever. Or there is another option, say, I am fed up. I want to get on the ambulance. In fact, that is what Prabhupada targeted when he went to New York, when he was in the Second Avenue. I was reading this book by Garga Muni. It was amazing, the whole history. How desperate these people were. They had tried everything. They had hit the rock bottom. Nothing else was remaining there for them to experience. And that was a moment Prabhupada hit the iron when it was hot. He went to these hippies who had nothing, who had no other enjoyment to experience anymore. And then he brought the Krishna consciousness into their hearts. So the point is, Krishna consciousness can grow in the, like a lotus can grow in the dirtiest of the ponds, but still be pure. That's Krishna consciousness. It doesn't matter how pure I am, what contaminations I have, but if I can somehow or another realize that Krishna. So I just want to make a distinction there that because you see, I come from a Brahmana Madhva family. So I have a little bit of a conditioning and allergy towards this premises about you have to become pure. Because like Madhva Sampradaya, the whole process is you have to become Brahma. And you are in a queue. There are like thousands and millions of people. And unless you become Brahma, you cannot gain perfection. That's their theory, okay? And you can imagine how difficult that is in Kali Yuga. You have to be super strict and super this, super that. They already know who's going to be the next Brahma. They know who's going to be the next Vayu. They have the whole line, you know. But they don't know Lord Chaitanya. They don't know, okay? They don't know the updated version. They don't know that the ambulance exists. So I'm a little bit allergic to this focusing more on the rules and regulations and rituals and my purity over bhakti. So that is not required. That is not necessary. At the same time, the question about why I'm not able to take shelter of Krishna. That's because we have, like you said, we still have some things that we want to still experience and hit our head, so to speak, or bang my head into the mud again. I'm an astrologer and I've been traveling Europe. How many people in their 50s, in their 60s, 3 marriages failed? Somebody connected with me today, 65-year-old man is looking for a wife. And then there are women, they were abused, and there's so many other stories, and they are already, whatever, 50, they're looking for a man. And somebody lost all money and they became so depressed and they were hospitalized and whatnot story happened because of money issues. As soon as they recovered a little bit, they're back in again into the business and investing money. And so the question is why? Because we have not hit the rock bottom, because I haven't realized how much I need Krishna yet. I have not. So the only way is, that's why in the program, no, the Alcoholic Anonymous 12-step program, they say that you have to hit the rock bottom. And it's a good thing. They say that when somebody is thinking, I think my life is still manageable, they will never recover 100%. They'll always remain. But when a person realizes that I've hit my rock bottom, that's it. There's nothing going. They say even when you think that you hit the rock bottom, you realize that there's a basement. So some people have to really, really lose everything. Then they like, oh my Krishna, I have nothing else to try anymore. It's only Krishna. That was a position of Arjuna. That was a position of Draupadi. That was a position of Pingala. That was a position of Bilvamangal Thakur. And that was the position of Ajamil. That complete powerlessness of hitting the rock bottom with no other substitutes to lift me up. So the answer is why? Because, I mean, I'm sorry for being crude, but I'm talking about myself also. It's because I'm not miserable enough. I'm not desperate enough. I still have some substitutes to hang on to. I still have something that I'm hanging on to. When all that is taken away, I mean, it kind of happened to Srila Prabhupada in a different empowered way. You know, his business stopped working. His wife, you know, Prabhupada said, tea or me? And Prabhupada's wife said tea. She chose tea over Prabhupada. So the point is, Prabhupada lost his family. Prabhupada lost his business. Prabhupada lost everything. Even God brothers were not supporting him. But with the strength of that Krishna consciousness, he was desperate to fulfill the instruction of his spiritual master. So my only answer is one word: desperation. That desperation that Rupa Goswami says, He Radhe Vraja Devike Chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kutha, Shri Govardhana Pada Kalpa Patale, Kalindi Vane Kutha. The desperate lamentation, feeling like that emptiness in so much. that, wow, you're looking for Krishna at that time, then we are ready. So that's the truth. We're not ready because we're not desperate enough. Desperate enough to want Krishna. Because Krishna is not putting conditions that you have to, especially Lord Chaitanya. I say, Krishna, yes, Krishna puts conditions. Maybe, okay, Krishna puts more conditions than Srimati Radharani. Radharani puts less conditions. She's the divine mother. She's very, 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 very merciful. That's why Radha Bhava Gauranga Mahaprabhu came in the mood of Radharani. And he said, okay, out this, out that, out this, ambulance is here. All I have to do is, but you remember, you know, right? Like, ambulance, I can't just because I broke my toe, they're not going to take me in the ambulance. I have to be completely finished, like you said, completely finished of any other alternatives. There's no way I can walk to the hospital on my own. That's when the ambulance is going to come. There's no way that I can revive my heartbeat. That's when the ambulance is going to come. So the desperation is a good thing. And personally also I've experienced people who go through good parenting, good everything, never experienced poverty. Every time they had somebody to protect them. The relationship with Guru is also very nice, very stable. You don't see them that fired up and doing something for Krishna consciousness. They're a little bit like in their own comfort zone. But when you see devotees who come from trauma, they know what is pain, they know what is poverty. You know, like that's why, you know, African devotees, Indian devotees, we have that fire, you know, a little bit of the fire, because we know what it is to be burnt, to be neglected, to be hurt, to be abused, all the family generational crisis and trauma and poverty and political struggles. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because it makes me come more to Krishna and not to my papa who's gonna protect me and my daddy, my mommy who's gonna feed me till I'm 98 years old. So it's a good thing to have these. I mean, it can be a good thing. Let me put it that way. If it always remain poor, also it's very difficult to come to Krishna consciousness.
Well, Mother, thank you so much for the answer. It's very sweet, but it's also quite emotional because we go through this, and I can understand your time is kind of elapsed, but I went through some of the examples you were showing, so I can really understand it. Sometimes the so-called suffering we go through actually the catalyst for us to become better devotees.
Yes, because we want to get out of this world, because those people who have a very secure, everything nice, money, nice family, everything is super nice, they may not have that eagerness and the desperateness. They may never get into that ambulance. But when we have that trouble and we admit that I need the immediate help and care, that's when we go in the mood of Arjuna and fall at the lotus feet of the spiritual master and Vaishnavas. I recently met one devotee. He got into trouble because he left devotees for a while. He got into big trouble. When he came back, you know, you could see him much more dedicated because he was like, oh my God, I left devotees and I got into such trouble. I don't want to ever leave devotees. So when you realize the value, you know, so sometimes you have to lose something in order to value.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to bring this to a final close because I believe you have something very, very urgent to do as you're speaking. And we are just very, very grateful that you could spare some time with us to share with us this depth of wisdom. So with that,
Govinda Prabhu also came in the last minute. I was like wondering where he is. Here he is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So, dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all with one voice, one heart, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation and love for our beloved speaker for today, Her Grace Sri Radha Govinda Devi, for sharing her love and wisdom with us. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha karma sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to Grace Shri Radha Govinda Devi ki jai. All glories to Samir Vaishnavi devotees ki jai. Oh Shri Kantiya Prabhu ki jai. Mahaprasadam ki jai. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We thank you all. We thank you all. Shri Radha Govinda. We hope we did not punish you so much for abstaining from the wonderful prasadam. But now you can go another prasadam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.